There are plenty of aisles in your grocery store where every single option is owned by the same singular mega corporate mass of just banker money. And a bunch of these shampoos and conditioners are in class action lawsuits for causing hair loss. And one even faced accusations for making people's hair catch on fire. That's a true story. You can look it up. Those very same companies, though, they market hair regrowth products right there in the same aisle from the same company. Problem, solution. We are, of course, talking about the BlackRock conspiracy. Baby food and baby formula was even worse. Some of these baby foods were testing at 177 times the acceptable level of lead in baby food. Not 177%, 177 times. That is 17,700% the legal limit of lead in baby food. This is in the baby food, folks. It's babies. But I didn't stop there. I looked up everything from detergent to cereal. I did sauces, ice cream, dressings. In the end, you start to realize what many of us all already kind of know, but have never quite visualized. All of our abundance, all of our foods and drinks and soaps and lotions, everything else. Thousands and thousands of brands to choose from, but it's actually all owned by just a handful of mega corporations. The more of this research you do, the more you realize that these sheets always seem to look the same. Dave's Killer Bread, not owned by Dave. Sorry, it was bought by Flowers Foods, a mega corporation, and they're owned by Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, plus a bunch of banks and fund managers. General Mills, JP Morgan, Norfolk Southern, American Water Works, top owners, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, highlighted in red, plus all the banks and financial institutions and investment firms making up the rest of the lists. You start looking at entire industries, and you realize that the same is true for all of the biggest corporations in every industry, like food and beverage, banking, big tech. The same is true for the oil industry and for the green energy industry, even literally for hospice, funeral care, and cemetery homes. Because if you're going to make money poisoning people right out the gate in the baby food, I mean, why not also make money when they die, right? So, as I did all this research across basically every industry in the economy, I found the same major thing over and over and over again. It's a big club, and we are not in it. So naturally, I got curious just how much of the stock market of all the publicly traded companies do BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street actually own. Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street combined represent more than $5 trillion invested in the top 100 companies. Collectively, that represents 42.2% of all the shares of ownership in the top 100 companies. If you expand your scope to the 25 biggest financial institutions, they collectively own 83% of the shares. 83%. This is just the top 25 biggest financial institutions. There are hundreds of them. The more shares you own, the more votes you get. So if you own 10% of the shares, you get 10% of the voting rights. Most of the money that the big three manage is not their own money. Most of it is actually our retirement accounts, like trillions of dollars of our retirement accounts. Look this up for yourself. It's not hard to figure out. When you buy a share of a mutual fund or an index fund or an exchange traded fund, all the types of products that the big three are selling, you sign over your voting rights to the fund managers, to BlackRock. Sure, they are managing your money, but they are also managing your voting power. And so, when we say that BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street own 42% of all the shares in the top 100 companies on the market, that means that they control 42% of the voting power. Add in their buddies, and the top 25 financial institutions control 83% of the voting power. That means they control all of these companies. They pick the boards of directors. They pick the policies. They decide how things are going to run, when companies will do share buybacks or dividends, all the rest of it. We are not the investors that they are beholden to anymore. Now, all of these companies' fiduciary duty is to the bankers and the fund managers and the Larry Finks of this world. They are legally bound to do what is best for them, not for you. And if it's best for them to sell baby food with 177 times the legal amount of lead in it, well, they're going to do it. If it's best for them to sell you untested pharmaceutical products, then they're gonna do it. If they'll make more money filling the food with drugs and poisons, not only are they gonna do it, they are legally obligated to. It's their fiduciary duty, and they can actually be fired if they don't.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors.